Hello my friends, at first let's review the situation on the front line. So here is the Bakhmut city. It's surrounded by the Russian attack vectors and the situation there is very hard, as I told you in my yesterday's video. If we move to the north, we have some of the news there. Russia intensified their attempts to get closer to the Siversky Donetsk river, and also they are moving forward to get Liman under control again. So that particular town was under the Russian control last year and successfully liberated by Ukrainian forces, and now Russia is moving towards it once again, but here they need to cross the natural obstacles, some of the rivers and the hills, and Ukraine was able to build a defense line, so it's not the easy task for Russian forces to advance towards Liman once again. I think that I understand the main idea of the Russian advancement from the Bakhmut city and also from Crimea over here. Their main goal is to advance towards this urban area between Drushkivka and Slavyansk together with Kramatorsk. This is the very populated and important area that is currently under Ukrainian control, and we have lots of the defense lines over there. So I don't think that with the current Russian resources they may advance towards that area successfully, but still they got some attempts to get to the area using the M03 road that is currently under Russian control in this area on the north from the Bakhmut city. And also if they capture Liman, somehow they may advance towards Slavyansk. It was the big threat for Slavyansk before, but Russians were not able to cross the river over here because Ukrainian forces concentrated their efforts to push Russians away from this area. But there's some of the concerning news coming from the Russia itself. They take more men to the Russian army, basically mobilizing them. The mobilization was not announced, but it's been confirmed that people are getting the prescription notices to go and serve for the Russian army. So for now, all across the front lines in Ukraine, there are around 160,000 soldiers from the Russian side. At least they say this number, and they want to reach the number of 400,000 soldiers in Ukraine. And if they send all of the backup to Donbas, they may create some sort of the mid-wall and send it to Kramatorsk and Slavyansk. In that case, unfortunately, they may achieve their goal in that area. This is the closer look in the Bakhmut area. You can see that Russia advances from the north, from Yahina, and also from the south. They are trying to close this gap over here, but so far unsuccessfully. And today I read one of the articles published by Ukrainian soldiers from Bakhmut. He says that we still have the supply line under control by Ukrainian forces that leads to the Chasiv Yar. And I think that this tiny little road isn't used. I haven't seen it before, but here on this map I can clearly see it. You may see it also yourself. So I think this one is used to supply the provisions to Ukrainian soldiers and also to evacuate the wounded personnel. The Russians basically have two of the vectors of attacks from the north, over here from Yahidne, and also they cross the river on the north, which is not a good thing, and they advance towards the territory of the factory in the city itself, and also the fighting is ongoing very close to the city center. Then they advanced from the south from Opetne village. Again, we have the supply line over there, it's been confirmed, but still I would use this supply line to go away from the Bakhmut city. Ukraine had prepared lots of the forces in Chasiv Yar and Konstantinovka that might be used for the counterattack on the south towards Klishivka over here. But still the possibility for this scenario is quite low. Wagner forces are attacking the city from south, north and east part, and this part is under the influence of the Russian regular army. I think it would be easier to break through their defense to reach Klishivka and cut Wagner forces away from the Bakhmut city. But so far I don't see any risks for the Wagner forces to be encircled. The risk here is for Ukrainian forces inside the Bakhmut city. And here we go with the urban battle for Bakhmut. So Russia haven't crossed the river over here. They will try to do it, but firstly they need to break through Ukrainian defense on the north, but they broke through defense over here and partially took the area of the factory. They also crossed the river Bakhmutka and now advancing towards the factory area on the north over here. Here they are very close to the city center, as I say to you, just few quarters away from it, and our guys are doing fantastic job to resist the Russian assault operation on the south. So on the south, I might say Russia is more successful compared to the north part, but here they create the threat, and also here taking residential areas. It's not really great situation for us. If they're gonna make it with this vector from the northwest side, my friends, the situation would be doomed for Ukrainian army in the Bakhmut city. Still, we have supply lines, some of the roads, but if they go to this area, they may cut all of the roads, and here they partially already cut the roads for supplies, and in that case they may encircle our army. So those two vectors over here and over here, they are very important to concentrate the forces to withstand their aggression. And the difficult situation for now is not only in Bakhmut but also in Avdiivka. It's not far away from the Donetsk city, so here's the Donetsk, and Avdiivka is very close to it. You can see Russia again tries to create some sort of the jaws or clouds to take the city under restricted control, letting just the minor roads to evacuate Ukrainian forces, or they try to encircle the city fully. It's their usual tactics since the Second World War. In Avdiivka, the Russian advancement is not that severe compared to Bakhmut, but still they're pushing hard, and the regular Russian army is performing this mission for aggressor together with the self-proclaimed Republic militia. Avdiivka is important for the Russian side because it has quite a big railroad hub, and it may help Russia to increase their supplies and connect their forces to the new areas, let's say, that they're trying to occupy. It's been confirmed by the Oryx resource that they analyzed the photos and videos taken from the front lines that Russia lost first modified version of the T-62 tank. The modernized version is equipped with the better armor and also better aiming equipment. They do not specify the location of the tank, and they do not provide us with a video confirmation that the tank was destroyed. They just publish it on their website, and according to the British intelligence, Russia called around 800 T-62 tanks from the long-term storages to modernize them and put on the front lines, but this modernization process is quite slow for the Russian side, and they modernized around 7 tanks per month, which is nonsense for the current scale of this war. There is the big article on the Washington Post, and basically the interview with Anatoly Kupel, one of the most successful Ukrainian commanders. So he spoke about the things as they are, some good sides and also bad sides of what is happening in Ukrainian army, and bad sides, bad things went to the headline: Ukraine short of skilled troops and munitions as losses, pessimism grow. Indeed, it's also according to my observations, we are in lack of the skilled, mobilized soldiers that are going to fight in Ukrainian army. First of all, it's the problem, let's say, of HR, who select the people for particular duties. I personally know the stories that ex-pilots, ex-tankists and artillerymen were just thrown to fight in infantry. Yes, infantry is very important, but tankists are in lack of the qualified personnel, as well as artillery, as well as aviation. Well, for the pilots, I may say that we have enough pilots, but not enough airplanes, that's for sure. So there is no proper division and distribution of the army men according to their previous skills in Ukrainian army, from what I understood. Also, I continue to tell about the long Soviet tale. We still have some sort of the dinosaurs in Ukrainian command. Yeah, just few of them, but they drag all of the systems down to the Soviet times. They're not willing to implement something new into the training of the soldiers. And that's why training for our soldiers was much more successful abroad rather than in Ukraine. And you know what those Soviet dinosaurs did to our commander who gave the interview? It's actually the freedom of speech, and it doesn't matter whether you're civilian or a military, you have this right. So after the interview was published, commander was dismissed from his position. And I posted the information about this particular guy. I shared the article from one of our independent journalists, so I highly recommend you to join my Telegram channel to review this very interesting topic. And this commander, Kupol Kolsign, went through the hell he is fighting against the Russian aggression since 2014, and he is one of the most capable, competent and skillful commanders that we have in Ukrainian army. Nevertheless, after this article, he was just dismissed from his position, and he published that he wrote the discharge form already. It's terrible, actually, also for the Ukrainian army reputation. But you know, the order came from above, and now Ukrainian society is very mad about this topic, and I hope they will restore the guy on his position. Interesting, the United Nations Commission said that there are no any proofs that Russia performed genocide in Ukraine. You know, after Soviet Union attack on Finland just before the Second World War, Soviet Union was dismissed from League of Nations. And now Russia started a full-scale war in Europe, the biggest one since the Second World War, and it has no any penalties, and United Nations doesn't see any genocide in Russians' actions. I personally have no trust in United Nations, and I think that this organization should collapse, and we need to build something new out of the new reality after Russia will lose this war. Here United Nations just say to Russia, okay, good boy, continue. Alright, about the drone, finally we have some sort of the video that was actually published by the Pentagon. Here they say that it was the fuel dumping by the Sukhoi Su-27, but here the pilot just increased the power to 4 such that actually increases the fuel consumption and also dumps the fuel through extra fuel noses just to the outlet of the engine, and that creates extra thrust. And indeed the vast part of that fuel do not burn, so we have some of the spill in the air, the trace that you may see, but it's not the purpose fuel dumping as a procedure. And with their second attempt they actually hit the drone. It was very risky and reckless flying. I think it was really a pilot who exaggerated his own skills and he wanted to play some macho stuff out there, because if it was planned, it should not be done in this kind of the maneuver that could have led also to loss of the Russian fighter jet, including the life of the pilot. It should be done very smoothly, then you go from behind and hit the propeller with your wing. They might have also used their nose, but it is made out of the composite materials and the nose cone is very fragile because of it. So the only way how you can purposely shut down this drone is using your wing for the collision attack. But here it was just a miracle that this airplane haven't sustained dramatic damages and returned to the base in one piece. At first I thought that this image is fake, but there are so many details on this video, and after we saw the damage to the propeller, one of the blades. So here you go, this is the propeller. The drone became hardly controllable and the United States Army decided just to dive it down to the Black Sea and not let Russia to get the drone on their territory. However, Russia already sent the ship to recover the drone debris. But United States officials say that they were able to delete the crucial information that was collected by the drone. And here's the location where the drone was shot down in international waters, and it's more closer to Turkey rather than to Crimea. And to recover the drone debris, Russia sent the ship that was made in 1913, so 110 years ago in Russian Empire. The first name of the ship was Volkhov, and after Soviets took power in Russia it was renamed to Kommuna. Kommuna because of the Communist Party. And it is only capable Russian ship to get something from the bottom of the sea. It also took part in a rescue mission of Moscow Russian flagship. And this is the picture of the first crew of the ship taken back in 1913, even before the First World War. And awesome news from Poland. In the next few days we're gonna receive 4 of the MiG-29s to Ukrainian Air Force, and it is just the first delivery. Soon we're gonna obtain up to 30 airplanes. Luckily, those MiGs were modernized to carry NATO standard rockets and bombs. Plus, those airplanes are equipped with better radars that will help our pilots to identify the enemy airplanes well before the enemy airplanes may manage to identify us. And it's been confirmed that we have received the French-made AMX 10RC tanks, or you may call them armor vehicles, but actually I think there are more tanks than armor vehicles. Yes, it doesn't have the caterpillars but the wheels, but those wheels work according to the caterpillars, so the tires, they do not curve or turn. Instead, like in a normal tank, you just brake one side and increase the speed of rotation on the other side. That is how you turn. My friends, now press the like to this video, and there are some of the links available below if you want to support my job. Thank you so much for your help. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.